She tells you she's satisfied. She's not. You think she moans because you're good. She moans because she's rehearsed. Every sigh, every arch of her back, every whisper. It's not truth. It's theater. And you bought a ticket to her performance without even knowing it. That's why she controls you. That's why she gets her way. Because while you think you're the man, she's directing the whole play. And she gets bored because every scene feels predictable, every move recycled, every outcome already written in her script. If you watch and try to understand these principles I'll give you, you'll know the secrets she hides, even from herself. The real map to female desire, the hidden psychology that separates men she forgets from the man she never lets go. Sit back and let go for a moment. I'm about to take you on a journey that, if you actually absorb it, will shape the rest of your life. This is where you separate yourself from the simps, where you break away from the crowd of men who never wake up. Pour a drink, put on your headphones, open your notebook. Don't just listen, see it in your mind, feel it in your body, repeat it to yourself until it sinks in. Every principle you hear, imagine it, auto-suggest it, rehearse it. This is training, not entertainment. This isn't about hating women. This isn't about tricks or manipulation. It's about restoring masculinity in a feminized world, so you stop being the audience to her act and start being the director of your own life. The first principle you're about to learn is the understanding of pace and ceremony. Every time you rush, you prove you don't get it. Every time you hurry, you show her she's just another task on your list. Every time you cut corners, you cut away at her desire. She wants geological time, not microwave speed. She wants ritual, not routine. Each piece of clothing should feel like unwrapping treasure. You strip. She feels stolen. You reveal her slowly. She feels worshipped. Picture a king in a throne room who tosses a crown carelessly on his head versus the king who has it placed with reverence in front of the entire court. One is sloppy convenience. The other is ceremony that commands loyalty. She craves that same ceremony in intimacy. Think about all the times you rushed to the finish line instead of savoring the journey. How many times have you mistaken efficiency for passion? How many times have you confused speed with strength? Every rushed encounter is another moment she files away as forgettable. Every slow, deliberate unveiling is etched in her memory as unforgettable. The second principle is about verbal presence. Silence kills her arousal. She doesn't just want touch, she wants words. Not generic lines like, "You're sexy." She wants specific real-time narration that proves you're actually there with her. The way your breathing shifts right now, that's proof you're present. That's what makes her feel seen. Without words, she gets bored because silence feels like absence, like you're going through motions instead of being intoxicated by her. With words, every moment becomes alive, every touch amplified by the story you tell her while you're inside it. Every time you stay quiet, she drifts further away. Every time you withhold words, you withhold connection. Every time you choose silence, you choose boredom. But every time you narrate, you anchor her deeper. Every time you describe, you prove presence. Every time you open your mouth, you open her heart. Think of a boardroom where one man speaks with precision, painting pictures while the rest sit mute. Who shifts the entire table? The one with words. Now apply that to intimacy. Your silence makes you invisible. Your voice makes you unforgettable. How many nights have you let silence suffocate what could have been electricity? How many times did you assume touch was enough when she was starving for language? Each moment you fail to speak is a moment she files under forgettable. Each moment you narrate, you etch yourself into her memory as the man who made her feel like the star of the story. The third principle I'll tell you goes like this. Desire begins at breakfast, not just at bedtime. A hand on her lower back while she cooks, a text that makes her blush at work, a glance that lingers too long. These are the sparks that make nighttime fire possible. Most men only show up at 10 p.m. The superior man starts at 10 a.m., and he keeps showing up all day. Every hour you ignore her, you dim her fire. Every small gesture you make, you feed it. Think of it like charging a battery. You can't expect a device to run if you only plug it in seconds before you need it. You build the charge slowly, consistently, so when the moment comes, it overflows. Desire works the same way. Every look, every touch, every playful word is a charge. By nightfall, she's either fully charged or completely drained. How many times have you let an entire day pass in silence, then wondered why the night fell flat? How many times did you assume she could flip a switch just because you were ready? Every forgotten moment is a withdrawal. Every small, intentional gesture is a deposit. Build the balance and she'll be rich with anticipation before the lights even go out. The fourth principle is about the hidden landscape. Becoming an explorer instead of a tourist. Most men are tourists. They hit the landmarks, breasts, hips, obvious spots. She wants an explorer, the wrist, the ankle, the hollow behind the ear. Every woman is a map, and she craves a man curious enough to chart her topography. Every time you only stick to the landmarks, you show her you're no different than the last. Every time you repeat the same path, she files it as déjà vu. When you only stick to the landmarks, she gets bored because she's been there 1,000 times. But when you explore the forgotten trails, you awaken sensations she didn't even know she had. When you dare to treat her body like undiscovered territory, you prove curiosity is stronger than habit. Discovery is the difference between routine and revelation. Think of a traveler who brags about Paris but only saw the Eiffel Tower. Impressive, number, predictable. Now imagine the traveler who wanders side streets, tastes hidden cafes, stumbles into secret gardens. That's the one with stories worth telling. The same applies to intimacy. One path is a postcard, the other is an adventure. How many times have you gone straight to the landmarks without learning the side roads? How many times have you repeated yesterday instead of creating today? If you dare to explore, she will never confuse you for the men who came before. The fifth principle is one to remember. Sometimes she wants surrender, her wrists pinned, responsibility gone. Sometimes she wants command, pushing you down, taking charge. The same woman, the same night. Every time you force her into one role, you shrink her. Every time you demand only surrender, you suffocate her fire. Every time you insist on her always commanding, you rob her of softness. Your failure? Forcing her into one role forever. The master? Reading her cues and offering both, fluidly shifting between giving her the freedom of surrender and the thrill of control. Picture a dancer whose partner only ever leads one step. It becomes boring choreography. But when the partner alternates, sometimes leading, sometimes following, the dance becomes alive. Intimacy works the same way. One rhythm is routine. Shifting rhythms create ecstasy. How many times have you defaulted to your comfort zone instead of reading her hunger? How many nights have you missed her cues because you were locked in one identity? Every time you adapt, you prove mastery. Every time you stay rigid, you prove mediocrity. The sixth principle, routine, is the assassin of arousal. Bedroom, lights off, same sequence. It's a coffin. Every time you default to the bed, you bury excitement. Every time you repeat the same script, you write her boredom. Every time you make intimacy predictable, you make her feel replaceable. She wants pursuit in the hallway, laughter in the kitchen, urgency on the couch. When you change the geography, you change the psychology. She stops feeling like duty and starts feeling like discovery. Think of a meal served the exact same way every night. Same plate, same seasoning, same taste. Even the finest dish becomes bland through repetition. Now imagine a chef who surprises with spices, who serves dinner by candlelight one night, under the stars the next. The food becomes unforgettable not because it changed completely, but because the context made it come alive. Intimacy is no different. How many times have you killed the spark with routine? How many nights have you turned passion into paperwork, duty instead of desire? Every change of scenery is a signal. She matters enough for you to create, not just consume. Every unexpected move is proof you still pursue her, like you did on day one. The seventh principle adds some spice. Blindfolds, silk ties, oils, toys. She fantasizes about them, but won't ask. Why? Because she fears sounding abnormal. Every time you ignore this, you signal that she must keep her cravings hidden. Every time you act like variety is unnecessary, you shrink her desire. Every time you make her beg for novelty, you turn her longing into shame. Your job is to frame them as exploration, not correction. Introduce them not because she's lacking, but because she's worth the investment, because she's worth new chapters in the story you create together. Think of an artist who paints with only one color, competent but forgettable. Now imagine the artist who dares to mix shades, to splash gold on canvas, to create depth no one expected. Which painting do people remember? Which work commands attention? Intimacy is the same. One color is survival, but a palette is transcendence. How many times have you shut down an idea because it felt unusual? How many times have you left her wondering if her secret fantasies make her too much? If you take the lead, if you normalize exploration, she'll stop hiding. And when she stops hiding, you'll finally meet the part of her she's been saving for the man brave enough to discover it. The eighth principle: technique without connection is emptiness. Every time you touch without seeing her, you make it mechanical. Every time you move without locking eyes, you make it routine. Lock eyes during her peak. Let her see the effect she has on you. Let her feel seen in her rawest moment. Eye contact transforms routine into revelation. Think of a performer giving their best act to an audience that stares at the floor. The talent is wasted without connection. Now imagine that same act under the gaze of someone utterly transfixed. Suddenly every movement has meaning, every gesture has weight. That's what she wants from you. How many times have you looked away at the very moment she was most vulnerable? How many times have you hidden in distraction when you could have met her with presence? Every glance you avoid is a chance for her to feel unseen. Every moment you hold her gaze is proof she is unforgettable. Principle 9, get your timing right. Men are switches, on-off. Women are waves, peaks, valleys, crescendos. Sometimes she needs slow pressure, sometimes sudden intensity. Every time you misread her rhythm, you break the song. Every time you impose your tempo, you silence hers. Your job isn't to apply technique. Your job is to conduct the symphony, to feel every rise and fall, to know when to build and when to hold. Think of an orchestra led by a conductor who ignores the musicians. Chaos. Now think of a maestro who reads every movement, who raises his hand for silence, who unleashes the horns at the perfect moment. That is timing, that is mastery. How many times have you rushed into crescendo when she was still in prelude? How many times have you eased off just as she was ready to soar? Timing is the art that separates noise from music. Get it wrong, you're forgettable. Get it right, you're unforgettable. Principle 10. Once you're finished, you're not done. Every time you roll over, you teach her she was only a means to an end. Every time you reach for your phone instead of for her, You carve distance into the very moment she craves closeness. But when you keep holding her, stroking hair, whispering what you noticed, kissing softly, she feels cherished. Post-intimacy is the true test. That's when you prove she matters beyond your release. That you see her not just as a body, but as a bond. Think of a runner who celebrates before the finish line, abandoning the last few steps. The crowd doesn't remember the speed. They remember the stumble. The same is true here. Finish strong, and the memory lasts forever. How many times have you left her in silence after the peak? How many times have you missed the chance to etch safety and devotion into her? Every moment after is either abandonment or affirmation. Choose which one you give her. 11. She's been taught to suppress half her desires. To want dominance makes her aggressive. To want submission makes her weak. Every time she hides, she loses herself. Every time she censors, she kills a part of her fire. Every time she swallows the truth, she swallows her own desire. You must create permission, safe space for her to explore both fire and softness. She needs a man who can see the difference between what she says she wants and what actually lights her up. Think of a singer trained to mute half her range, technically correct, but emotionally hollow. Now imagine the same singer unleashed, soaring from whisper to thunder. That's what she longs for, to express all of it without judgment. How many times have you mistaken politeness for preference? How many times have you accepted her words without watching her body contradict them? Every suppressed desire is an invitation for you to lead her into freedom. Every act of permission is proof that you're not afraid of her fullness. Every moan she faked was proof you were asleep. Every time you rushed, you trained her to hide. Every silent encounter was your surrender of power. Every careless move was your surrender of leadership. But every new touch, every word, every shift in pace, that's your chance to reclaim it. Every deliberate pause is your chance to show presence. Every intentional word is your chance to prove you see her. To prove you're not a boy chasing release, but a man orchestrating connection. That's the difference between being tolerated and being treasured, between being remembered as routine and being etched into her as revelation. Think of the difference between a drummer who hammers the same beat endlessly and the one who shifts rhythm, who builds tension, who drops silence before the explosion. One is noise, the other is music. Your intimacy works the same way. How many times have you played the same beat without noticing she stopped dancing? How many times have you confused her polite cooperation for passion? Every repetition without variation numbs her. Every echo with escalation electrifies her. Stop being a background character in her performance. Become the director of your own story. Understand these secrets, and you'll never again wonder why she's distant, why passion dies, why she stares at the ceiling afterward. She'll be too busy staring at you. Remember, most men satisfy, few fulfill. Choose which side you'll live on.